Hi everyone, welcome to my channel again. So as usual again, I've got another special guest here with us, and I've got Segun Akogun with us. Segun Akogun has been working as a cybersecurity, should I say, officer or cybersecurity specialist in the agile space, and as usual, he's got so many years of experience, and he's here to tell us about his journey and give us tips on how we could get into the world of cybersecurity. So, do you want to introduce yourself to us, Shagun?
I sure can. Hi everyone, nice to meet you all. My name is Segun Akogun, and I've known Jude for a while now, a number of years from back in uni days.
Yeah.
Like you did say, I've been within the cybersecurity space now for the best part of 10 years, to be honest. Looking back now, it's amazing how much time has sort of flown by the entire time.
Uh-huh.
I work within cybersecurity. To use that word, I to start from my journey, how I got to this space, I would say that my journey began years back. So I did my first degree, which was a BSc in computer science. That was in Nigeria, Olabisi Onabanjo University, or people call it also in Nigeria. So
Yeah.
I did that, and then I wanted to come for my master's in 2011. That is to come to the UK, that is, for my master's in 2011. And just because I had done a BSc in computer science, I wanted something a bit different to do. So I was looking for schools that could go, and eventually I chose Hertfordshire University. And so I was looking through the modules they offered at that point, and I sort of saw a course called mobile computing, and the name just sort of felt cool to me. I thought, you know what, let's give this course a try. And then I sort of applied for the course, got the admission, came here. And the way it used to work back then was that for master's degrees, there are modules that you were given and some that you could choose as well to make up your unit point for like a particular semester. So in the with the aim of doing less modules, because the way it works is that, for example, you have to do 60 points in the semester. Some modules are 30 points, some are 15 points. So if you do two modules that are 30 points, you do two modules for that semester. If you do 15 unit modules, you do four. So in the bid to do less modules, I chose one that was called distributed system security, a 30-point module. And just for me, just to do less class work. That was the aim, to be honest, though. So when I started the first class, and this professor came in and he was just talking, he just completely blew my mind away by what he was saying. And that was my very first exposure to anything called security or cybersecurity. So this was in 2011 slash 2012, by the way. And
Uh-huh.
from that point onward, for some reason, I just loved, because to me, I was like a kid like in a candy store. It just sounded so fascinating to me that I had to just know more and more. And that was how I sort of began from an educative sort of aspect. And from that point on, it was all security. My master's thesis was security. Everything I did was just security up until then. And then, after our master sort of ended, okay, what do we do? Do we get a job? So while I was trying to get a job, and I think this is down to fate, or down to God's grace, actually. The first job I got, it was a system support engineer, like an L1 support engineer. And that company was a managed service provider. So they had a lot of data center. It's called co-location, by the way. So I get the job, and 3 months down the line, the company wanted to set up their own security operation center. So within security, something is called a SOC, which is a security operation center. It is
Yeah.
pretty much a service that you subscribe to. For example, now you want to do security monitoring. For you to
Uh-huh.
hire people, buy tools is quite expensive. So you
Uh-huh.
just sort of give that service to a third party. So in that case, my company was third party. So within 3 months of my first job in the UK, I was working in a security operation center. So that was a purely cybersecurity setting. So
Uh-huh.
all of the incident monitoring, working on things like your SIM tools, your AV, your EDR, your patch management. I was doing everything within my 3 months of my first job. And I think it helped me because I was thrown like in a deep end. without pressure. I could make
Yeah.
mistakes. There wasn't that much pressure in there. I could ask.
Mm-hmm.
I would ask my team leads every day. Oh, tell me this. What does this mean? After a while, they were saying we're gonna start charging you for your questions. But for me, then I just wanted to learn and to know how everything sort of came together. So that was how I sort of got my first job within cybersecurity, and to me it was quite fascinating back then because it wasn't as popular as it is now. It wasn't as fancy as it is now. I mean, to be honest, I think my first my first pay was about 22K a year. It wasn't that much
That's
back
good.
then. Yeah.
Coming straight out
So
of uni, that's very good.
it was 20, yeah, it was 22K a year, but for me, I didn't even think about the pay. It was the fact that I was learning. I was sort of doing things I wanted to do, and I was growing. So for me, that was the key. And yeah, so from that point, I was there for about 3 or 4 years. Changed companies, a few companies, did a lot of reading, a lot of research, a lot of certifications. After a while, I became a consultant, did a lot of contracts as well. Sort of the whole not yet to a point now that I am sort of now as a coach. I train people, I mentor people, I do trainings, I help people review CVs. People want to write exams, I tell them, I give them tips on what to focus on. But people that will send me like an interview email. Say, okay, I have an interview tomorrow. Here's the email. What should I focus on? And I say, you know what, based on what this email says, focus your time more on this area and not this
Mm.
area. And there's been a couple of stories that I've been proud of in terms of people that have helped get into security. I think one of my proudest event or story was when there used to be this guy that we used to play football together every Saturday. So
Yeah.
I play football on weekends. So the guy used to be a carer, and this was in 2018, I think. The guy used to be a carer. But
Uh-huh.
we got talking from football, and he sort of said, "Oh, I'm tired of what I do. I want a different career change." So we just got to talk about what I do as well, which is cybersecurity or information security. And then we got to a point where I said, "You know what? Why don't you give this a try?" So I told him, do this exam every week. Call me. I'll be your accountability partner. You know, I will
Mm-hmm.
ask you, for example, what have you read? By my questions and by your response, I can tell if you've read that stuff or not. So we
Right.
did that for about 3 or 4 months. The guy did this exam. He passed his exam. I was quite surprised, but I was happy as well. And
Uh-huh.
I think about 5 months from the point where we first started talking about jobs, job change, the guy got his
Uh-huh.
first role within cybersecurity as well. And that was something that I actually was quite proud about because it was something that you wouldn't think, you could cross job roles from being a
Yeah.
carer to working in,
So
cybersecurity.
cybersecurity, yeah.
Exactly. So that has been, I would say, in a nutshell, my career. Like I said, my career started like in 2013, my first official job role, and it's been what now, 11 years now or thereabout. So
Wow.
it's been a while. Yeah, I would say. So that's been my journey in a nutshell, I would say. So yeah.
That's fantastic. That's a lot to take in. Basically, so from what I understand is you don't have to study computer science to know anything about cybersecurity, right?
No, you don't. Ideally, the career path would be you go to uni, you do something tied to
Uh-huh.
security or IT or engineering. Keep in mind that some 12 years ago, even here in the UK, only a few schools had the program on security. And
Right.
I'm saying this because I almost applied for my PhD as well, so I know this. Um, in fact, I know universities that didn't have anything. I mean, they could have like courses on security, but to have a whole module on security, I think it was
Uh-huh.
probably UCL, Cambridge, a few of them that had that 12 years ago. But now in the
Right.
UK, every uni has a major or majors on the program within security. So things has
Okay.
changed a lot since then as well. So the normal
Oh.
career path is that you go to uni, engineering, science, IT field, and then sort of grow to security. But
Oh.
lately, what I've seen, there's been people that have done courses in uni, maybe law, finance. In fact, on my last training, one of the guys that got a job did law in uni, and he's a guy that you might know as well, JD, actually, but I don't want to say his name on this on this program.
That's
Yeah,
fine.
yeah.
Let's not mention names.
Yeah.
That's fine.
He did law in his first degree, but he now
Oh,
works within GRC, within information security. And a lot of people
interesting.
lately have, it's been the case that they're changing to security from a field that does not even align at all. If you get what I mean. So
Yeah.
you don't have to go to uni and study anything that is IT based to work in security.
Oh,
But what that means is that you may need to work harder than those people, because when you go to uni now, when you study something in an IT field, there are things
oh,
you would have picked up or learned across the line, across the way.
yeah.
But if you're not exposed to that, you might need to do all of those learnings later.
Yeah.
So you may need to learn and pick up stuff extremely fast, I would say. So yeah.
Oh, I mean, fantastic. I don't know. I just want to ask for your permission. Is it okay to put your email down, on the
Yeah,
screen for those
yeah.
people that want to contact you for?
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
Anyone can contact me if you need. I mean, I would happily talk to anyone and give them my 2 cents, advise them. I do a lot of mentoring, by the way, and just make it clear, mentoring is 80% the student, 20% the mentor.
Mentor. Yeah.
Exactly. So mentoring is do this, do that, try this, try
Oh,
that, and then
yeah.
the onus is on you to go and do that if you want to learn. So
Right.
I'm happy to talk to anyone, advice.
Okay.
Anyone can pick my brain. I guess for a lot of people that I've dealt with, one of the biggest questions is that can I actually transition to security?
Oh,
What will it be like? People don't understand that security is such a wide field. There are people that work within security now that do not code, are not technical, don't work on any sort of technical tooling as well. Because what they
yeah.
do within that remit is just limited to, for example, risk management, to
Oh,
governance, data privacy, things
mhm,
like that as well.
oh,
Yeah, so security is extremely wide, and I always say that there is space for everyone.
yeah.
But I would say it is on you to be determined to want to make headway for yourself. So you have to read
Uh-huh.
more, research more, study more, get a mentor. Very, very important. You need a mentor, especially if you're coming from a field that is not IT based or IT
Oh,
related. You need
oh,
a mentor, someone that can help lead and
yeah.
direct you.
Just to
And when I
hold your
say a
hand.
mentor, exactly, what's happened over the past 2 or 3 years is that people that have been so-called mentors need to be
Mm,
mentored a bit more. So because
yeah.
yeah, because a lot of
Yeah.
people just jump in. And I give an example. I know someone who got trained within a year, and he said he was a coach of security, and that is just impossible.
Oh,
That is just impossible. So get a mentor, but at the same time, be mindful of who your mentor is as well.
right.
So yeah.
Fantastic. So, let's go into the just a little bit more technicality
Okay.
into because so I work as a Scrum Master, Agile coach, and I've been doing this for a good number of years now.
Yeah.
Um, so in one of my previous roles as a Scrum Master at my former company, a long time ago, we had this challenge where we couldn't move. In an agile team, because in an agile Scrum team, you have your statuses and your columns, your to do, in progress, to done, just into basic, right? So as a Scrum Master, if I see a particular ticket in progress for 7 days, I'm going to ask questions, right? What's going on here? And the challenge there, the blocker we had was the particular software. I can't remember the software right now, but at the time it was a long, long time ago. But just a very, very good example to bring in now, so that my questions can be well understood. So the particular software that this particular developer was supposed to use wasn't working. Now, I think it was Flinto, and then I asked, okay, I didn't know other softwares you could use to, you know, to design, because it was a designer, to design what you wanna design. And she said, well, there's Figma, but we're not allowed to use Figma in the company. And I asked why, and that's, well, because there are security issues with Figma. So how does cybersecurity, what role does it play in an agile team? What role does it play in that kind of situation?
Okay, good question. Let me to answer that question. Let me start by saying that security most times acts as a gatekeeper. Okay,
Right.
so there are examples or there are cases where um, any new tooling,
Mm,
any new software would have to go through a security vetting, whatever it's called. Is that a vetting or a review or an assessment? We use different words for that. Now,
mm,
the reason for that is because if we just buy a tool online and we deploy the tool, and something happens from that tool, to a lot of people, they don't understand what could go wrong or what could be the
mm.
effect of doing that.
Okay.
And that is why we have people that work within security. These
Mm,
guys earn big bucks of money. These guys don't bring money. For example, in a company, your marketing, your sales, your finance, they help bring in money.
mm,
Security budget is quite big and they don't bring in any money at all. They are there to ensure that the company keeps running because there are times that you experience breaches or incidents that you pay a financial fine for. It could be the ICO, GDPR. It could
mm,
be it could be any of the US laws, SOX or whatever.
mm.
So sometimes you pay a fine because you've broken a particular law, and there are times as well that the effect of that incident is so big that it damages your reputation and it knocks you completely out of business. That we have no company anymore. The company will close down. From
Wow.
something as small as using the software that you just buy from anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
But people don't understand the context of that. And and security is seen as, oh, they're blocking us. But
Mm,
for every time security blocks you, there must be openness in the sense that there must be a reason why you're being blocked. For
yeah.
example, now in your case, the software was bought. The software has bugs or has vulnerabilities that could be exploited, and that could in turn lead to us having a breach. If that is a reason, we can use
Mm,
that, then that will be the obvious case. But with these things, it's not black or white. For example, now, we could say software is bad or has a particular issue with the software. What do we do? Because we need to move this project forward, we go to the guys who made the software and say, okay, hi guys, this software has an issue. Can you commit to fixing this issue in the next 3 months or 6 months? Now, based on how big that issue is and based on the company's risk appetite. Okay?
mm-hmm.
So let's assume that it's a massive thing now that needs to be fixed. But as of now, we've made commitments to people, we've taken money, we say we need to deliver this project now. The go no go has to be done. So what in those cases, what can we do? The company can say, for example, now we could say that this software has no fix. We need to commit this product to the market. We're going
Mm,
to accept the risks of the software having flaws or vulnerability. That could be
yeah.
case number one. Case number two could be that, okay, let's have a good decision. Let's deploy this tool, but we tell the software makers that in the next 6 months they have to commit to fixing the issue, or we're not going to renew the contract.
Mm,
So there are different complexities to how we manage this, like in the real world
mm-hmm.
scenario. Yeah. So most part security is seen as a blocker, but the reason for that, in my opinion, has to be quite open. So if your team within your security says this we cannot do, there has to be a
Yeah.
logical reason why we can't do that.
Mm-hmm.
And for the most part, people in security will like the word policy and standard. Say, why
Right.
can you do it? It is against the policy. That's usually our go-to word. Yeah. But the
Sometimes that
reasons
could
we
be frustrating, to be honest.
yeah, but the reasons we have those things in place is that we need to save ourselves from
Mm-hmm.
ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
You know
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying? That
Mm,
I've dealt with many PMs in the past. That a PM just wants to get this thing done and approve and signed. It does not care about the risks that are involved. It does not care
yeah.
about what could happen. It just wants to
Mm-hmm.
get this project done, get it moving, and then it's fine. But when you start to pick and say, wait a minute, hold on, but these things are not the way they're meant to be, you know, and then we start to pick up things and see. But in my opinion, I think in an agile framework, security is about collaboration and being able to adapt to the needs of the business. Now, the
Mm-hmm.
fact is that in any business, we cannot fix every single issue. So security cannot fix everything it finds that is wrong.
Right.
And that is where collaboration comes into play. For
Mm.
example, now, okay, you can keep building, but before we get to a point where we go to then, or maybe sprint 5 or sprint 8, whatever sprint we want to call it, this issue
Mm.
has to be fixed. So that way, we don't stop that project altogether at sprint 3. We have a
Right.
target date of sprint 8 where the issues we found has to be fixed. Now, that is more
Mm-hmm.
collaboration. But I've seen cases where we will say, if it's not fixed, this sprint does not progress. It happens as well. But in a truly agile framework, I think it's about collaboration and
Yeah.
enabling the business or the different teams to do what they have to do at the same time, keeping an eye on the risk level as well. So yeah.
Yeah. I think well, so basically, you're saying it's more about the three pillars. So I don't like to call it the three pillars of Scrum. I like to call it the agile pillars. Transparency, inspection, and adaptation. So if we're all transparent with what we want to achieve and what's going on, the challenges we face as a team, and also from the cybersecurity aspect, then the collaboration is very, very.
It becomes easier. So for example now, if you want to develop like a software now,
Uh-huh.
and this is where those initial conversations are so important, because from the start, every team or every person in every team in every squad understands what will pass through that security gate and what will be blocked. For
Mm.
example, from the start, I tell the teams, guys, if for this software we're building, if we're going to use open source tooling or open source, we call it compositions, by the way, if we're going to
Mm.
use them, we cannot deploy those things that has a, let's say, a CV of 8 or whatever it is, that if it's really
Mm.
bad, it would not go through. So those guys that are building the stuff, they understand that as we're building, if we put something that has a CV score of 8, for example, in there, it will get blocked. So they need to know that, okay, if it's 8, we either go and say, hey guys in security, we only have one of this and it's 8. Can we get an exemption,
Mm.
or you know what, we can't use this because we get blocked. So that way the teams knows what to do to aid a faster process. So
Right.
that initial collaboration meetings you have to have, it is also important, because if you don't do that, you're going to have the issues you should have at the start later in the project, and as you know, that will cost you more money and more resources as well. So yeah.
Okay. So, well, moving on now. For cybersecurity, a lot of people think, oh, when they hear it, it's a big word, cybersecurity. And are there any specific tools you use? A cybersecurity personnel must use, or there are no specific tools? What kind of tools do you use?
There are many tools that we use. There are tools that we use. So, for example, now, to break it down into some of the more common areas of cybersecurity. So,
Yeah.
people that work within cyber now, they have tools, for example, what you call your SIM, your EDR, your patch management tool, your vulnerability scanning tool. So, those are more tools that are more on the cyber. You want to defend your company, or you want to look for issues within your tools and assets. So that's what you would say in those areas. But we also
Mm-hmm.
have tools as well. So people that sort of work within governance, risk compliance, third party assurance, data privacy, there are tools they use as well, that can help them to keep record of, for example, how many vendors have we assessed? How do
Mm.
we keep track of the risks we have across the company? That when
Yeah.
something is due to be reviewed in 6 months, we don't all forget about it. When we say, for example, this document in this place every 6 months has to be reviewed. By that 6 months or 2 weeks before that, the people that needs to review that get an email saying it needs to be reviewed.
Mm.
So that's just tools to help those people in that team do their stuff as well. And then also, as you move on, for example, now if you are familiar with the financial industry, there are tools in there that you wouldn't find anywhere else. So for example, now you might find tools like HSM, which stands for Hardware
Mm-hmm.
Security Model. You will find these tools most with banks, because banks likes to have control over their data. You wouldn't find that
Mm.
tool anywhere else, to be honest, though. But
Right.
you find them with companies that want to have absolute control over their data. That even
Okay.
the keys used to encrypt their data, they want to have controls over those keys as well. And then things like Swift,
Mm.
which is the global money transfer system as well. So all of these things are more within the financial sector. But when you talk about tools, there's a myriad of tools. For example, now a tool that does a particular function, you could have that tool. You could have 10 of those tools by 10 different manufacturers, or more than 10, for example.
Mhm.
So there are many tool types, and even within those tool types there are loads of them from different manufacturers doing the same thing. One thing
Mm.
you would see as sort of climb up the ladder is that you will be chased by what's the word, salespeople, basically. So for example, now if you're like a manager now, like a lead on LinkedIn, expect to get messages from people saying, "Oh, I work for this particular company. We sell
Yeah.
this tool. It helps you do this, blah blah." So and you get that from multiple sales company as well. So yeah, the tools are numerous. I don't think you can even
Mm.
exhaust every single tool you have. To be honest, though, it's impossible to do. So yeah.
Yeah. So would you say is advisable for the major ones you mentioned HSC, um, the Swift? Is it necessary for you to learn how to use or understand these tools before you get a job, or you?
No, it
Okay.
depends. It depends now. So things like HSM and Swift, a, a normal person would not even know what those things are used for.
Yeah.
In fact, a lot of people that work within security don't even know what those tools are used for. Now, in terms, it's true though, because you need to work in a certain sector and
Yeah.
work
Yeah.
in a team within that sector to be
Right.
exposed to those tools. Now, the
Mhm.
tools that are more common are what you call, for example, your SIM tools, um, your vulnerability scanning tools, your patch management tools, your EDR tools. All of those things are the ones that are more general in terms of people knowing them. So, for example, now, if you want to get a job within cybersecurity, you need to know what SIM means. You need to know what AV means, what EDR
Okay.
means, what patching means. You need to know the most common tools for patching, for scanning, your Qualys, your Nessus, code
Mhm.
scanning, your SAST, brother code, IAS. So those ones are more general in
Mm.
terms of things that happen within cybersecurity. So if you're able to get a job in those area, then you need to know what those tools are, and also try and watch videos about one of them to understand
Mm.
how one works. Because for example, now when we talk about SIM tools, there's probably about 15 that I know of just from my head that I've either dealt with. So it's impossible for you
Wow.
to know all of them. Just understand the basics that this is what this tool does, okay, and then
Yeah.
try and research or watch videos into one particular tool, because again you can't know everything, it's impossible.
Mhm.
So to
Mhm.
me, that is still the best approach to take. So yeah.
Yeah. Just, I mean, um, on a lighter note now, we touched on this earlier. You said when you first got into cybersecurity, your after uni, your take home was roughly about 22,000 annually. So basically, you know what? Let's to make it juicy for people to say, oh, okay, or maybe like a motivator for them to be, you know, gingered to say, I want to get into cybersecurity. What do you think the average salary take home for a contractor and for a permanent staff is
I
in the
would
UK?
say for contractors the average salary will be about £500 a day. and i
Oh,
mean
that's a
and i
whooping
mean
lot of
i
money.
mean average. um I think you might earn a bit less than that,
Okay.
but you can certainly earn a lot more than that.
Wow.
So in terms of the average pay, I would say £500 a day looks to be the average pay. And again, for PAMIs, it's a bit different as well, because a lot of factors have to be put into context as well. The company you
Uh-huh.
work for, the industry the company is in, your
Uh-huh.
skill set, because not
Yeah.
everyone earns the same thing as well. Your skill
Uh-huh.
set, your experience, your role level as well. So all of these things sort of play a key role in how much your take home would be. For
Uh,
contractors, you can speculate easily, but for PAM, it's
uh,
quite different, because a role in London could be 30k more than the same role somewhere within the UK. So trying
yeah.
to put a value on that is gonna be quite hard.
You're
But
right.
I but what I would say is that career wise, security does. um, bring in a lot of incentives, I would say. So,
Mm.
so yeah.
So basically, from what you said, you play football, you enjoy, you have a fantastic work-life balance, and I can see you're a family man also too.
Yes,
Um,
definitely.
you
I've got
know,
three kids. So yeah.
fantastic, fantastic. Well, lastly, just can you give us some tips for people that want to join you to become a cybersecurity specialist?
The first thing has to be the desire to do it. So,
Right.
and I always use myself as an example. I know things have changed a lot because I've dealt with people lately. In fact, over the past 2 years, people are just money motivated, which is good. Don't get me wrong. It's nice to like money. In my
Yeah.
own case, when I started, it was not even about the money. I'm gonna be honest with you though.
Yeah.
I just wanted to just know this thing, just to learn it.
Mhm. Mhm.
That was my motivation back then. But I understand that things do change. We're in a recession, getting out of work currently as well. So money is important to be honest though. You can't sort of, yeah. But I would say for
Yeah.
me, you need to have the desire to learn.
Mm.
Okay, and I give you an example. There are people that have probably joined my courses, I've mentored. Some have paid, some have said, you know what, right now I haven't got a job. And I'll be like, you know what, join the course for free. You don't have to pay now. And then
Mm.
what I see as the course goes on is that I can tell from the first two classes those that will actually get a job and those that will not get a job.
Yeah, I understand.
I
Totally understand
can
what you're
I
saying.
can tell from the first class or second class those that are committed to it and those that are not.
Mhm.
Okay, and as time people that will call you and say, "Oh, sorry, I have a question. Oh, I saw this question. I don't understand. Can you explain to me?" And people that once you finish the class, that's it, up until the next class. So
Yeah.
just from there, I can tell do they actually want this thing or to them it's just another avenue of
Mhm.
making money.
Mhm.
And I'll tell
Mhm.
you something: those that have gotten jobs the most are people that have been committed to wanting to learn and to know these
Mm.
things.
Mm.
There's nothing wrong with having wanting money to use that
Yeah.
word.
Sure.
We all
All
need
right.
money. That's the
Yeah.
thing. But I would say join because you want to know this thing, you want to learn and grow. I mean, money will always
Mm.
come, definitely, you know.
Yeah.
But don't make that your only motivation of wanting to join.
Mhm.
Show a bit of interest. And again,
Mm.
one thing is that within security, if you don't learn, you don't grow. It's that simple.
Yeah.
I have managers, people that have been my managers. I have CISOs that I've worked with that are in the highest C-level suite executive that are still learning.
Mm.
So why would you want to join after 1 year until you're tired of learning?
Yeah.
So that's the thing. After the motivation to want to grow, to want to know this, that for
Mhm.
me is the most important thing. That is so important. The desire to want to learn and to want to grow. Nothing beats that desire, in my opinion.
Fantastic.
Okay, yeah.
Fantastic.
And then number two, even though I said this earlier, I'm going to reiterate this as well. Try to find someone that can mentor you. It does not have to be paid. And even if
Mhm.
you have to pay, you're paying for a life skill,
For,
for a career
for
skill.
knowledge.
Exactly. Even if you have to pay, that's fine.
Mhm.
I know some mentors will say, you know what, because you're taking my time, you need to put a financial money to that. But
Yeah.
even if you have to pay, find someone that knows the stuff and is able
So
to lead,
I think
guide, and direct. Yeah.
some people actually say that just maybe because they feel if you don't pay, you're not going to take it seriously.
That's my experience as well. Again, sorry to digress from this. So I've
Mhm.
I've offered a lot of free training to people in the past, and what I've seen, so people that have joined my training for free, they don't show that much commitment to it.
Yeah.
It could be because they think it's free. I don't know. But people that don't pay, that have said join for free, the commitment from them has been so low.
Mm.
So, I think something that comes to you easy, you don't understand the value of it,
Yeah.
to put it that way. But number one, I would say try and be committed to learning, to growing, and number two, find a mentor that is able to lead, guide, or direct you in the right way to go. So yeah.
Yeah. So well, thank you so much. Thank you for coming around, Segun.
No
Definitely,
worries.
we definitely want to have you again to even go into more deep conversations. And don't forget, I'll put your contact
That's
again.
fine. Yeah, yeah. Put my email in there. Anyone can
Your
reach out to
email.
me, and we can have a conversation. So happy to help
Yeah.
anyone as well. So yeah.
All right, then. Thank you, everyone, for joining in. And please do not forget to like and share and subscribe. Thank you. See you all later. Bye
Thank
bye.
you. Bye.